Hey there, and welcome back to my craft room. This is card number 3, and I think probably my favourite of this particular class is this lovely square, 5-inch square card. I'm just checking that my iPad is catching up, which it's not at the moment, which is a bit of a concern. Oh, here we are. Just check my volume is fine, since I had a false start with the video already today. Yeah, looks like it's fine. Anyway, so as I say, thanks for purchasing this class and bearing with my videos today. It's a bit hard to know what I've actually put in an actual video and what I've just put in a failed video at the moment. So if there is anything missing from the commentary today that I have missed out, given that there have been so many versions of these videos today, please reach out and let me know. Hopefully we'll get through to the end of this one without any further ado. I'm just watching the video, make sure it's going to stay nice and sharp for us, given that the light is a little bit different in here to my normal daylight videos. Anyway, as I say, this is probably my favourite, this particular class. I love square cards for some reason. I seem to try and include a square card in every class that I do. This one has the highlight colour is the soft succulent from our in colours, the new in colours. So that's really nice, soft, sort of smoky, powdery green. We have, again, I'm using this this die cut leaf here, which is probably one of my favourite design elements at the moment. And again, we have our beautiful flowers. This time we've actually used the flowers in like a 3-layer design. We've layered them up, just in this, for this particular larger bloom, we're using all 3 of the little images to build up a single design. I'm also using this wonderful silver corded metallic cord here as well, which is in the current catalogue. So if you like this one, it comes in a twin pack with some gold and silver. So next time I do a class, I'm going to have to use the gold, because I've used all the silver up this time round. Just goes so nicely with this design. I have introduced some elements from another die set in this one, which is this little sentiment box arrangement over here, and this is from the poppy dies. They're in the current catalogue, and I'm trying to remember, painted dies, I think they are. But yeah, I can pop the code for that into the comments once I finish these videos if you want to look at that one. But if you check the current catalogue, you'll see that there. So there's actually 3 elements to that little sentiment box there, which I'll show you when we get there. This design I have done with the poppies, and it works really, really nicely with the poppies from the Painted Poppies bundle. So, you know, if you like this design for this one, have a look back. I've got old videos where I do this design with the poppies. Anyway, so let's get started. So in your pack, you will have, as I said, a square card base this time. So it's a 5-inch square card, which means it's actually a 10 by 5 piece of cardstock, which is scored in the middle. So that gives us our square card. You can choose with this one to go landscape or portrait. I'm going to go landscape this way. So it opens up right to left. You've then, as I mentioned, got a layer of the soft succulent, which is, I think in this case, 1/4 of an inch smaller. So you've got a bit more of a border of the white than I would usually have. Then you have a correspondingly smaller piece of basic white, which I've popped through the old world embossing folder, because I love that sort of old world paper look. It's actually a retired embossing folder, but it is very, very similar to the bark embossing folder, which is in the current catalogue. So if you like that look of the sort of the folded, crunched up paper look, check out the bark one. I have it in a order that's coming, but unfortunately, as I mentioned before, with the supply delays, it didn't arrive in time for me to use it in this set, in this class. So we might as well just layer these up and get them out of the way. First of all goes your soft succulent, of course. Try and make that the same top, bottom and sides. My eyes are getting a bit tired after all afternoon's adventures. Then bring in your embossing your embossed panel. Now, with embossed panels that are heavily embossed, like this particular one, oh, excuse the crash, where the pattern is quite deep, I like to use double-sided tape rather than glue, just because I can be sure that it will stick rather than the glue just disappear into the crevices and never be seen again. So I just pop some double-sided tape. Snail may work, but I think you probably have to put a bit too much pressure on a snail, so you probably would lose some of your valleys and mountains if you did that. So let's just stick with the double-sided tape. You can use glue as well, but you'd probably have to use a little bit more than you normally would. And we're going to pop that one over there. Now, you may have to wiggle this a little bit because embossing actually reduces the size, obviously, because it introduces a whole lot of creases. So you might find that you've got a bit more of a border than you would normally have, but that's fine. There you go. The more of that pretty soft succulent we see, probably the better. Okay, so that's that. So that's our card base pretty much done. We might just leave it at that and come back with the rest. Okay, so stamping the flowers, you have got a piece of cardstock there to stamp your flowers and leaves. So what you actually need is, and I have stamped them already, so I might just show you and you can go away and do those and come back and finish the card. There's an envelope there. I don't know why I gave myself an envelope. Okay, so you need, in the Magenta Madness, you need a big flower, a medium flower, and a little bud, which I've got to find. I'm sure it's here somewhere. Here he is, a little bud. So the tiny little one as well. Eek, which I can't get out. So all three flowers in the Magenta Madness. So 1, 2, 3. Then in the polished pink, or the second pink, whatever you've decided to use, you need the medium one and the small one. So 3 in the darker pink and 2 in the lighter pink. And then you need 2 of the double leaves in this case, mint macaron, or whichever green you've decided to use. So I won't bother stamping those because I've already got them there, so you can see them all laid out there. So as I said again, we're going to actually layer these up this time so that they get sort of a 3D effect happening. So with the Magenta Madness, you pop the middle size bloom, I suppose you'd call it, into the big one. So just smack bang in the middle, just like that. And then the little bud goes in the middle again. So you get that three layered effect happening. So you can finish that one. You could put Wink of Stella on these before you start if that's what you'd like. I have actually got it on my original one, but I haven't done it here. You can leave it till the end and just do the bits that are actually going to show. So with your polished pink or your other pink, you pop just a little bloom into the middle of the medium-sized one. Leave your 2 leaves out. So that's your 2 flowers. That's what we're going to be using to decorate the front of our card. Also, you've got in your pack the beautiful leaf, and this time it's been cut from the soft succulent colour. And you've got, again, as I mentioned before, there's 8 leaves there. So if you're doing 2 cards, cut and use 4 in each, so you can cut it up a little bit. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that one and that one. I'm going to keep those 2 together. Okay, so those are what I'm going to use for this card. And I've got the other 4 left for the second one. Okay, so you've got your beautiful silver metallic cord. So what we're going to do with that, we're going to add that now. onto the back of this larger bloom. So grab your cord and your fingers, and spread your fingers fairly far apart and go around and come back. So you should go around twice and meet again in the middle. Okay, so you get that sort of double loop. Okay, then what we're going to do is turn our bloom over, grab some dimensionals, and we're going to go pretty heavy on the dimensionals here because we're not just wanting to capture to put the flower on the card, we're also wanting to capture our cord as well. I've got the 4 around the edge there. I'll put the cord in. So wait a minute, let me see. I'm going to have my flower pretty much like that, maybe like that. So I want the cord to come out diagonally there. Okay, so pop the join in the middle. And then this is where it gets a bit fiddly. Always a little bit fiddly with this. I want to grab actually I might use double-sided tape, would be easier. I'm going to just grab a piece of double-sided tape. There you go, it's much easier. Trap the cord and firm it down. You could use sellotape or masking tape or washi tape, any sort of tape that you've got to trap that. Make sure it sort of pokes out the end. There's not much point having it if you can't see it out the ends of your sides of your flower. Might put one quite long and one a bit shorter, so I've got some depth, some interest, and just seal that, firm that down with some double-sided tape as well. When you flip it over, you can see the beautiful cord poking out the sides of the bloom. Okay, so it's going to go on our card like that. Okay, so we might bring our card base back and start assembling. So what we're eventually going to have is our flower sort of sitting there to the side. We might do our sentiment box. So I'll show you how to assemble the sentiment box. You might as well assemble it first before you pop it on the card. So you've got these 3 elements. I'll move that out of the way. Got these 3 elements here. Now, it's been so long since I've made these kits, I don't remember whether I've given you one of these round ones or 2. Depends. We'll go both ways. If I have given you 2, basically all you're doing is popping it behind the rectangle, and then bringing this one in and tucking that behind as well. So it's going to have a bit hanging off the end there, but we'll hide that behind the flower. So that sort of arrangement is what's going to be on your card. So we'll glue those in place. So I'll grab some glue. Just glue on the bottom half. Now, if I have only given you half a circle, just cut it in half and use half per card. I probably should have done that. Hang on, bear with me. If I've given you 2 circles, do what I've just done. If I've given you 1, just cut it in half, because I mean we're going to lose half of it behind the card anyway. Okay. Well, not use that one because it's got glue on it. Put some glue, so on the half that you're going to use, and then just tuck that behind. Okay, so yeah, so just you only ever see like a third of it poking out from behind the center, but it just adds a bit of interest to that plain white rectangle. Okay, and with this one, we're going to do the same. Well, not the same. Just pop some glue on that strip at the top there, and then line it up with our sentiment box there, just so that the hard edge of the little the frilly bit lines up with the edge of the sentiment box, just like that. So hopefully you can see that. I'll turn it over so you can see. There they are, all together there. Okay, so you're not going to need this end bit here. You could basically trim it off but I might leave it on because I don't want to trim too soon or trim too much off and then have a sort of a hard edge where I shouldn't have one. So I'm going to put the sentiment on now, and I haven't actually blocked this one up. I'm going to use Best Wishes. It's got quite a nice little Best Wishes, or the hello would fit as well. The happy birthday is quite long, but if you wanted to mask half and sort of stamp half at a time, well, maybe I should do that. I'll show you how to do that. Might pay for this later because you should never change your design halfway through. I just thought I'd show you. I'm going to need a longer block than that. Okay, so what I'm actually thinking of is that you can put your happy birthday there. Obviously, that happy birthday is too long for that card, for that sentiment box. But if I grab my black ink and ink up just the happy first, which you can line it up with the edge of the ink and the edge of the, probably easier to come in at that. Oh, no, that way is easier. Line up so you just get ink on the happy. That's it. You can put that towards the top of your sentiment box. Okay, clean that off, very important. Clean it off so that there's no black ink on it. And then come back in with your birthday, just putting ink on your birthday. Yep. And then you can pop that underneath. And then we've got that, we've turned that long, oh, crooked. Oh well, you see what I mean. Best Lane plans. You get that long, turn that long stamp into a shorter stamp, and that means we can cover over some of that with our pretty decorations. So as you can see, I'm going to pop that on there. So we wouldn't have been able to use that big long happy birthday even if we'd wanted to. Okay, so that's fine. I think the Best Wishes is actually nicer, but that's all right. I've shown you how to do that with the stamp set. So I'm just going to pop that sentiment box over towards the right-hand side, slightly up of centre, slightly higher than middle, but sort of quite central there. Now, because of our embossing folder, you may have to sort of make sure that you've got that stuck down, because it will have, sometimes it will have trouble getting into the glue, getting into those little, I've got glue on my fingers. It's a good thing we're going to cover that. Okay, so I'm going to pop our big flower there. I'm just sort of working this out as I go. That other bloom is going to tuck in up under there, off to the bottom left-hand side, just so you can see where I'm headed. That leaf will go under our cord to the top left-hand side. And this one, I've actually got it on my original, I've got it down there, but I'm not sure I like it. Maybe it would be better down here. Yeah, I think I actually like that better. And then we've got our little die cuts, and we're going to pop those in and around as well. That's a bit big for there. We'll pop them, cover over my glue splodges. This one here. Just until I get them all in place. I usually have a little bit of a play, even though I've designed this one. I always like to make sure it's the nicest it can be. Okay. Yep. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm actually happier with that than I was with the other one. So we're going to put everything in place that way. Okay. So what's first? We'll lift that very carefully out of the way. We'll pop our little bloom down here. So just glued on, because it just doesn't have to be dimensioned. Pop that there. Give it a little press down, as I say, because it's on the embossing folder. Then I can bring this in with the dimensionals that we already have in place. I'm going to pop that and bring them out of the way because they're just going to pop in underneath. And bring that in so it sort of almost kisses our happy birthday, sort of fits in and around it, and covers over our little bloom slightly. There we are. And we can pop these where we had them before, hopefully, if we're going to remember. This one was up under the cord, just like that. This one we'd moved, so it's over more to the right-hand side, just there. Again, pop it under the cord, the silver cord. This one, my memory now, I need to rewind the video and have a look. I had that one coming off under there. I like that one, sort of something to sort of frame the sentiment box a little bit, so I have the longer one there. This one, framing the sentiment box again and hiding my splodge up at the top. And this one at the top as well. There. There we are. Now looking at that, you might want another green flower, another green leaf coming in here. One of these ones, one of the stamped ones you might want there, but I think that's okay. There we are. Isn't that sweet? I really like that. I like the way those two leaves sort of frame that happy birthday, even that birthday's, and takes away from the fact that that birthday's a bit crooked. You don't actually notice it too much. Okay, final step in this one is our bling, of course. And I think everyone has got rhinestones for this one. I don't think they used sequins, thankfully. Okay, so you just bring in your rhinestones and pop them around where you like. I usually do a bit of a triangle thing happening. So I'll pop one down here. One up here. I always look for sort of gaps where there's a bit of empty space and fill it with a rhinestone. Over here. Yep, there. Okay, and that's that one done. As I said, that is my favourite, I think. You could always bling that up with a bit of Stella, but I think with the cord and the rhinestones, I think that's plenty of colour and plenty of pop for that one. And I really like that sort of, although I've covered it with a leaf, I really like that sort of three-part embossing. I'll just move that down a little bit so I can see it. The three-part sentiment box is really, really special. Something a little bit different, just a little bit more ornate. Okay, so there's the first one, the second one, and there's the original there. Yeah, I quite like that happy birthday. That'll be useful for later on. Okay, so that is card number 3. I finally got there. Thanks for bearing with me, and thanks for buying this class. And if you happen to be watching these videos afterwards on YouTube and you'd like to do one of my classes, I live in Australia, so you'd have to live in Australia too. Please just reach out, send me an email. All my contact details are on my YouTube channel, and I'm happy to help you out with classes in the future. And we've got some lovely Christmas ones coming up, so stay tuned for those, because everyone's minds turn to the silly season. Anyway, thanks so much. I will talk to you all again, and have a great week.